Welcome back to another episode of Life After High School. Today, I want to talk about elevating your performance. All right, elevating your performance. Listen here. Sometimes, man, we go to school and we're like, "Yo, why am I here?" And when that happens, right, when we say to ourselves, "Why am I here?" we take that performance. We decide to elevate our performance in areas that have no long-term value. Okay, so when I'm talking about elevating your performance, man, I really want you guys to really understand what I'm saying, and that is elevating your performance means the things that I do now are going to help me long term, okay? Not short term. It's not just going to have me excited for the moment, and once the moment's over, there's nothing, right? Think about this. I used to buy a car like every year and a half, every 2 years max, right? And every time I would buy a car, my car payment would go up, right? The monthly car payment would always go up. It would always be higher, whether if it was $100 higher or $200 higher, it would be higher. But what I realized is it was taking me to the same places. It was doing the same thing for me. The only thing it was doing was giving me short-term gratification. So when I would get into that car and I would drive that car for the first maybe 2 to 3 months, it had that new feel. You know what I mean? And depending on how much I was driving in month one, maybe it doesn't even last the 90 days. But at the end of that 2 to 3 months, it was just like the car I had before, except my monthly obligation was more, right? So when I'm like, yo, Pierre, you got to elevate your performance. It didn't include going to get a new payment that was going to have me be the same person, you know what I mean? The same person just putting out more. Instead of going to buy the new car and spending an extra 200, like, yo, take that 200, that extra money you would have used for that new payment, right? And that higher insurance, right? Take that, and now let's put that into your development. I started to think that way. And then it went from, I would go through a whole year with zero put into my personal development, maybe $100. Maybe I bought a few books, right? But it went from that to now I'm putting 20 grand into my personal my personal performance, right? And me elevating. Then it went from 20 to 50. And when I started to do that, it changed my life. So, and then I ended up getting the new cars right down the line, but it was a different feel, but it's still, that feeling still went away at the end of that 60 to 90 days. Right? But I was in a better position to do it. So when I'm saying elevate your performance, I want you to understand that elevating your performance don't mean just run around, go outside, have a good time, and you laugh today. Nah, but what if you delayed all of the good, not all of the good times, but a lot of the good times, right? What if you just delayed 50% of the good times? What if saying yes to going out and hanging out with individuals after school, you said no 50% of the time? What would that do for you? What would that do for your performance, right? You're going to elevate your performance now. What you're going to find out is you enjoy you going to elevate yourself a lot more than going to hang out with other people. Because as you're elevating, you're learning. You're learning things, you're meeting people that you never thought you would meet before, right? And now that information you learned over the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, you're able to go ahead and put yourself in another environment that helps you to elevate. So now you're going out, you're having good times, you're laughing, you're having that excitement that you was looking for before over here, but was always keeping you the same. Now you're over here with this group of individuals and you're having that same level of fun, but you're getting more accomplished with your life. Right? So we went on vacation years and years and years ago, right? I never forget this. It was 12 of us, right? 6 couples. And on this vacation, there was some people that couldn't take part in all of the activities that was going on. Some of the people that was there had to pass up going jet skiing, pass up going snorkeling, pass up going out on the boat, you know what I mean, going boat. They had to pass up on these things. When we was going to getting on the bus and going out to different fields and seeing different parts of the country, they had to pass it up. Why? It wasn't because they didn't want to. It was because before we went on vacation, they was running around having fun, doing other things that wasn't preparing them for the vacation that was coming up. So they was on vacation, but their vacation wasn't the same. Their vacation was, we're just in another country, sitting on the beach, under the sun, whoa, right? And for some, listen, that's okay. But if you prepared and you elevated your performance because you knew this was coming up, not only would you enjoy the beach, because we all enjoyed the beach, we all enjoyed the free. But when it was time to go ahead and make an investment, everyone couldn't enjoy that. And what I'm saying to you is there's some people right now that you're laughing at in school, and you're calling them the nerds, you're calling them the teacher's pets, right? You got all the jokes for them, all of the things that make really no sense, but to you it makes sense in the moment. When school is over and they're moving along and they're living their lives, right? They're living their lives because during the school time, they was focused on elevating their performance. When they got out of school at the end of the day, they was focused on elevating their performance. So now they're running off and they're living a life after graduation, and you're struggling to get to graduation. And then after graduation, you're like, what do I do? I don't know. But this group of individuals are running off and they're living their life. And they're having a good time. And you're looking on social media and you're looking at all of the pictures. You're like, yo, they're on that trip. They're at this event. They're doing this. Man, and you stop feeling less for yourself. You stop feeling emotionally distorted, right? So while you're in school right now, I want you to take this time and I want you to focus on elevating your performance so that later you're in your desired results, okay? Instead of later, you just having results. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? I hope you do. I hope you're getting it, right? So let's break this down real quick. I just want to give you a couple of points, right? Couple of points, 3 of them. I want to give you 3 points. When I'm saying elevate your performance, what I want you to do is I want you to set a clear mission. I want you to set a clear mission. If your mission is unclear, so is your activities, so are your thoughts. If your mission is unclear, the group of individuals you have are useless. Not meaning they're useless, but they're useless to your life. Why? Because you don't know where you want your life to go. If you understand what your mission is and you're very clear, like you're locked in, this is what I want, you will now start to be around a different group of people. You will now start to have different conversations. You will now start to do different activities that move you closer to getting what you want. Imagine if you say, man, you know what? I love traveling. I want to travel the world. And everybody you're around has ideas and wants to travel the world. You will now start to think about ways that you can make income to support you traveling around the world without you being stationed in one spot. Do you know how many people, man, get up every morning and go to work? Like it's a Monday morning. And you know, they say that most people have heart attacks and fall over on Monday mornings because you have to go and do what it is you don't love to do. Your days right now being in high school, your bills, you don't have no bills. You might help out around the house, right? You might have a part-time job and you putting out a little money, but the whole overhead is not on you. And there's someone out there where they're like, yo, you know what, man, I got to do everything. I get it. Okay, cool, I get it. But that's not the majority. You don't have them type of bills. So you take all your time and all your energy and you focus on elevating your performance. Okay? You focus on that. You know exactly what your mission is. So you get around the right people, the right conversations, you're in the right environments. And watch this. It's going to seem lonely in the beginning until you start to get in these groups and around these groups of people. Number one, you get comfortable being by yourself, right? And then you get into these environments where people have the same vision as you. They want to travel the world, and you're focusing on how do you make money, like without being inside of a job every day that doesn't allow you to have any freedom. You think about it all through high school. How do I do it? How do I do it? Yep, okay, cool. And you start taking steps towards it. And before you know it, you're traveling the world like you wanted to. But if you have ideas to travel the world, like that's your mission, to travel the world, and all you're doing is hanging around with people that have no vision of traveling the world. They talk about their jobs and they talk about the career that they want, but the jobs and the careers that they want do not allow them the freedom to travel the world. Where is your thought process being molded inside of that group? If you're around a bunch of people with small vision, how does your vision grow? It doesn't. I don't want to be the smartest one in the room. I don't want to be the smartest one in my group. Do I want to have value to add? Absolutely. But do I want to be at the top? Do I want everybody to come to me for help? No. Do I want to be able to help all of them as much as I can? Absolutely. But I don't need to be the person that leads everything inside of the group, right? So I want you guys to focus on that clear mission that you have, okay? And when I say clear, I'm not saying like, yo, make the mission achievable. What is achievable? Achievable is whatever you can think of. Achievable is whatever you can see, right? I believe that once you see something, you can't unsee it. If you see someone that comes from the same environment as you, right? Worse circumstances than you, and you watch them living the life they desire, you watch them doing the things that you only dream of, you now have possibility. You now have hope. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. But if all you're doing is staying stuck in this little bubble, this little environment, right? There's no elevation because you don't see nobody get out of it. But the minute you're in this little bubble, when I was in my projects and I watched one person get out, boom, I'm like, yo, that's possible? Yo, they over there doing this? I could do that. I'm not looking like, yo, they don't deserve that. Man, how they get that? I'm not interested in that. All I wanted to see was somebody get out of it, right? So that means when I'm telling you to get that mission, it don't need to be achievable to anybody else. It don't need to be somebody might say to you, man, that's too big. You got to do this first. Instead of me saying that's too big, you got to do this first, I'm looking like, yo, I love that. What's your first step to get there? What's the first step you're going to take? And somebody might just be like, yo, you know what? I'm going to wake up an hour earlier and I'm going to study for that hour on this one thing. On this one thing every month, every day of the month, I'm going to wake up 1 hour early and I'm going to put 1 hour into what it is I say that I want. At the end of the month, that's 30 hours of focused time. So when I'm saying elevate, think about that. You know what the mission is, right? Be very clear on the mission that you want to achieve. And then you take that 1 hour every morning. You either stay up late 1 hour later, or you wake up 1 hour earlier and you put that 1 hour into this thing that's 30 hours a month. There's not too many people that are putting in 1 hour a day of focused time in your high school. You understand? Like the stuff I'm saying to you is like, this is what I'm giving my salespeople. This is what I'm training on sales on. I want you to get this. It's not complicated. It's not hard. It's not impossible for you to win. Is it easy? No, it's not easy. It's discipline though. Okay. So I don't want you to think when someone says, if someone says to you, yo, make it achievable, that's too big, that don't make sense, I want you to get away from them, right? My man Tom Hopkins said, bad seed, right? It's a bad seed. I don't need nobody to water or give me more doubt than I already have in myself, okay? I don't want that to happen. So I want you to have benchmarks so that you can see like, okay, I'm setting this mission right now. This is my mission. I'm very clear on my mission. I'm putting this group of people around me. I'm very clear on the people I need around me so I can add this group, build this ecosystem. I'm very clear on the environment that I want to be in, that I need to be in to make sure like everything stays going, right? To make sure that I stay upbeat, to make sure that I stay on task, to keep me accountable of what it is. If you got a group of people you're around right now and you say, this is what I want to do, and don't none of them call and check in on you and be like, yo, you said you want to do this. What did you do this week? What did you do today? At the end of the month, what are you going to have done? They're not holding you accountable. You got to be around the group of people that's going to hold you accountable, okay? This is why it's important to know exactly what it is you want. And when I say exactly, it doesn't mean you don't pivot, right, and have to make some adjustments, but the target never changes. The way you get to the target might change, right? Because you decided to take this, like to deviate to the left a little bit, but when you deviated to the left, it started pulling you too far to the left. So you're like, oh, got to back up. Yep, let me get back on course, right? So you're always making pivots. But this is high school is the time to do it. This is the place. You're in high school. And as you do it, watch this. Listen, I promise you. You have examples right in front of you when you look at your parents and you see how they complain. Oh my God, I got to get up on Monday. I got work in the morning. And they're complaining about this. And you start to look at your parents' life and you're like, yo, I watch my parents waste time over here. I watch my parents go out and hang with their friends and have useless conversations. I watch my parents watch things on TV that make absolutely no sense. And they complain about the life they live. So why do I want to watch what they're watching? Why do I want to do what they're doing? I don't. It doesn't mean I don't love them, but the information they gave me, right, about who I should be hanging out with and what I should be doing with my life, they're not the mirror of that. It don't make them bad. They're your example. Like, ooh, yeah, I don't need to do that. You see what I mean? And you stay focused on what you're focused on. And when they try to get you off of it, like, what about this? Or that's too much. Or you're like, yo, I don't even really, the life you're living as my mom, as my dad, like, you're not the example that I need. You are, but you're the example of what I don't need to do because you didn't get to your destination. Matter of fact, you don't even have one. Okay? So let's go to the next thing, right? Number one, I want you to write that down. I want you to set a clear mission. Okay. Number two, I want you to break it down to the ridiculous. Break it down to the ridiculous. What do I mean by that? Let me give you this example real quick. I'm in sales, right? Been in sales for a long time. If I have a customer that comes in and the customer says, hey, I want a payment of $500. And when I come back with a payment for them, and that payment was $600 and not $500, $600 isn't the thing I have to overcome. I have to overcome the $100. So I'm now going to say, listen, I understand you want to be at $500. I'm at $6. I'm going to cross out the 5, I'm going to cross out the 6, and I'm going to say, so what we're really talking about is $100. That's the first breakdown. And they're going to say, wow, yeah, that's, okay, that's true, but that $100 is a little more than what I want it to be. So then they're sitting here and they have a Starbucks coffee. And I know that they spent at least $5, right? On average, at least $5 on a drink at Starbucks. And I'm going to say, how many times a week do you go to Starbucks? And they're going to say, well, I go to Starbucks every day. How many of them do you get? Well, I get one a day, right? So we take that and we break it down. That's what, 2. So if you do $10, that's 3. So if you do 5, you're at $150. So that's $150 a month, right? Oh, so the $150 a month, really, you're $50 over what you're afraid to invest in on your vehicle to get you from your home to your job and back so you can afford to get Starbucks. So my question is, what's more important? Is it the Starbucks or is it you being able to get back and forth to where you need to get to and be reliable and have something reliable? I'm breaking it down to the ridiculous because really at the end of the day, we're talking what, $3 a day? A little over $3 a day, right? If I had my calculator, I would do the math. But if you take 100 and you divide 100 by 30, not 31, do it by 100, right? Do it by 30. 100 divided by 30 gives you the number. It's like $3 and some change. So really, what you're saying no to is $3 and let's just call it $3.50 a month to be able to have what you want. Is that something that you're okay? You're okay with, or you okay with passing it up? At that point, it's not $100 anymore. We're down to $3.50 a day. And they're gonna say yes, and you know what's crazy? They're still going to go and get their coffee every single day. So it's not that they don't have the $100, they was focused on the $600. So when I'm saying to break it down to the ridiculous, identify exactly what it is you want, and then I want you to write down, cool, what's the first step that I need to take right now? What's the first step that I can take myself? Right now, I get up every morning, I go to school. Okay, cool. When I go to school, I usually run late, but instead of running late, I'm going to show up early because I did some classes I need some help in. So I'm going to ask my teacher, hey, if I come in 10 minutes early, can you just give me a little bit of help on this? I'm going to start to break this mission down to the ridiculous. I know that it's going to take time to get there. I know that I'm not going to get it the first time around. I know it's going to take time. This is why you got to maximize your high school years. Your high school years are so important, not just because you need a grade, an A, a B, a C. I don't care about your grade. When you look at the world, your F&D students are crushing it. Why? Because they're not afraid to take chances. They're not afraid to not be right. So when I'm telling you, you have to elevate your performance, you have to focus on it, and it's hard, right? But when we break it down to the ridiculous, I don't care about the whole mission. What is it that you can do right now? Right now. What can you do right now? Right now. What can you do right now to get started? Okay? Right now, what can you do? I want you to write that down, right? And break it down to the ridiculous. Why? Because the large mission is overwhelming. The large mission creates frustration, depression, aggravation. It makes you throw in the towel. You're like this. You're like waving the white flag, right? You're over there like, oh my God, I'm done. That don't work. Because you're looking at everything. What I do is I write down what the mission is, right? I write it all down as much as I can think of, right? I write it down. And then I put it in order of what I can do right now, right? Where do I need to stop? Boom, 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 boom. And then that thing that's on the top that I need to start with first, I put on a separate piece of paper so I'm not looking at the rest. Because if I look at the rest, right, I don't know, maybe you're not like me, but I'm going to sit there and I'm going to look and I'm going to do this. And my eyes are going to wander and start to see all the stuff that I don't know how to do. All of the stuff that's going to take a lot of time, a lot of energy, all of the stuff that's going to frustrate me, all of the stuff I tried before and I couldn't get it to work. But when I take the one thing off the paper, and that's all I look at every day until it's done. That's all I focus on every day until it's done. What if I would have did that in high school? It's not that I was stupid in high school. I wasn't stupid. The process I had made no sense. The group of people I was around made no sense, right? So I want you to break it down to the ridiculous. I do not want you to get overwhelmed. I want small steps, okay? Small steps equal big results. Continuous small steps equal big results, okay? Let's go to the last thing. I want you to create that positive environment, right? So when we're talking about have a clear mission and breaking it down to the ridiculous, now we're formulating the ecosystem of the environment. If I know that I want to play, and this is the illest part, right? I wanted to go to the NFL. That was the vision, right? It wasn't the NBA, it was the NFL. Any opportunity I had to play football, I would play football. But I would only play football in this little group. I wasn't putting myself out to people that needed to know who I was and know how good I was and know what it is I did. Instead, I'm staying in this little environment, wasting my talent, wasting my time. I should have been over here playing. Why I got to do everything right here? Why everything right? Because I'm comfortable? Because these are the people I know? Why? See, I didn't figure that out until later on in life when I ended up going to Cali. And when I went to Cali, I was getting like a lot more looks. But at this time, I wasn't locked in the same. The focus on being athletic, right? Like going to the NFL, it wasn't there no more. It faded because my environment had faded, right? My vision faded inside of my environment. That's better. The vision faded inside of the environment because I stayed in that environment too long with no outcome, with no progression. But if I went from that environment to this environment and now in this environment, it would have grew because I would have got pushed different. I would have been playing around different people. It's just like when I used to play Madden online, right? I play Madden online. I play with a group of people, right, that we play every day, and you start crushing them. And then you play online and you're like, yo, your game ain't diverse enough to be playing. It's not rounded enough, right? It's not well-rounded to be playing online. You're playing against people you never seen their favorite go-to move. You never seen their style of play. You never seen the way they run their defense. But you thought you was good because you played around the same people and you knew the formations that they really played, so you figured out how to beat them. Why? You studied game footage. I studied the game footage of the people I played Madden with every day. And because I focused on the game footage, they couldn't beat me. I'm winning. I'm winning. Even though some of the games were tougher than others, I'm winning because I know when they get caught up in the jam, they go to this. When I'm playing them, this is the defense that they be running. You see what I'm saying? Like you got game footage to study, but when I'm playing these other people, I'm playing like somebody in Wyoming I ain't never played in my life. Don't know nothing about them. Don't even know their name other than what's on the screen. And I'm getting smoked. I'm getting blown out. See what I mean? So the knowledge that I thought I had of the game was an illusion. I'm winning because I studied the footage. So if my environment is off and I have no footage to study other than the footage of the environment that I'm in, but the environment I'm in is off, and I get outside that environment, how can I win? I know now that when I first get there, I'm supposed to go through the growing pains. I'm supposed to take time to learn the style of play. I'm supposed to learn the language. I'm supposed to learn the personalities. I'm supposed to learn what it's like at this level before I can execute at this level. But if I'm in this environment and I've been here for the last 20 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years of my life, I'm winning because I studied the game footage. I get over here, I don't have no footage to study, so I feel lost. I feel lost. And because I feel lost, I go right back to this environment because I feel comfortable. I don't want to be comfortable. The minute I feel myself being comfortable, the minute I find myself doing everything without thinking, everything is muscle memory. Great. How do I maximize this community, right? So, because I don't want to leave it 100%. How do I maximize this community so I'm still getting benefits out of this community, right? I done gave enough of it, enough to it. Now it's time to start withdrawing. You see, when you're in an environment where you're giving so much information, you're doing so much to, you're making deposit after deposit after deposit. When it's time for you to go to that next step, you can now make withdrawals from where you was. And you go over here and you get back to the deposit phase. Deposit, deposit, deposit. So you go from being comfortable to uncomfortable. When you get comfortable, you go get uncomfortable again, right? So I want you to create the environments. That means surrounding yourself with positive influences. The positive influence are the ones that's just like, they're not accepting your excuses. Your excuses don't mean anything to them, okay? Your positive influences, when you don't feel like it, they give you the push you need, okay? Your positive influences, they're checking up on you. They're holding you accountable to what you said. Not what anybody else said, what you said. So they're going to ask you, right? When I'm on the phone with my guy, before we hang up, he's like, all right, cool. What you going to get done this week? What you going to get done this week? And I'm like, man, I'm going to do this. And all right, cool. Cool. And he'll send me a text. Like, yo, remember you said this is what you're going to do this week, man. I'll talk to you next week. And I'm doing the same back. And what it does is it creates accountability, okay? So I want you to pay attention to that, okay? Whether it's motivational quotes. Sometimes a motivational quote is cool. When I get up in the morning, there's certain things I like to read. There's certain things I want to hear. Sometimes I listen to the same chapter out of the book Think and Grow Rich every day I get up. And then some days I listen to something else, but sometimes I just want that chapter. That's all I need. You understand? Like, you have to find what that is for you. You have to create your environment, okay? Your positive environment can boost your mood and keep your motivation levels up. Internal motivation is where we want to get to. But every once in a while, we need that external to jumpstart it, right? So it like the internal, it starts to fade. You're like, oh man, I don't know, right? You get a little negative on yourself. Sometimes you're a little hard on yourself. You get a little frustrated. But then you have that conversation with someone and you're like, and you're back. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying to you is, I want your motivation to come from inside because you're focused on the positive elevation, right? You're focused on the elevation that you need. You're focused on making sure your mission is clear. You're making sure you're breaking everything down to the ridiculous. You're making sure your environment is right. When your environment is right, when your internal motivation starts to fade, it starts to go down, that environment sees it and they're like, ugh. You know what I'm saying? What you go to the hospital, they put the thing on your chest like, boom, right? And you get that little jump start. Yo, sometimes we need that. But what if you don't have it? There's only so many times you can jumpstart yourself before it don't jump no more. I want to make sure the environment is right. I want to make sure you're focused on elevating your performance every day of your life. No exceptions whatsoever. Hands down, I want to make sure that you are focused on elevating your life. Do you understand that? All right? I hope you get it.